The power of a uniform lies in its silence. So I made a video a few months back, ranking the world's best-looking uniforms. Now, of course, my beloved Marine Corps ended up on top. But I couldn't help but notice in the comments a number of people brought up, what about the SS uniforms? What about Nazi uniforms? Now, was a bit of a World War II history buff, and a guy here on YouTube that talks about men's style. I thought who better to answer the question, why were the Nazis so stylish? Seriously, the SS uniforms haven't been worn for coming in on 80 years, yet people still talk about them as the most stylish uniforms ever made. So why are the SS uniforms so iconic? Find out, gents, in today's video. So to understand why the German uniforms, specifically the SS uniforms of World War II, are so iconic, we need to go back and look at the unification of Germany. In 1871, O.V. von Bismarck basically unified the German states to defeat the French, and in 1871, unified all of these different states that spoke a similar language but had very different looking militaries, very different customs into one country. Germany. Now for the next 40 years, German uniforms were all over the place in terms of makeup color, the way that they were put together. Pretty much the only common thing we saw in a lot of these uniforms was the famous pickle helmet, you know, with the spike on top, that right? There was pretty much the standard until 1910. What happened? All of a sudden, we saw a standard go across the German Empire. Basically, you needed to conform to gray. Now, this was a practical move. All the colors before really symbolized particular units allowed commanders to be able to see what's going on in the battlefield. But as war changed all of a sudden, we started heading into World War. It was going to be something with trench warfare. It was something where maneuver and having the generals right there on the field maneuvering just wasn't going to happen. So we saw things going towards practicality, going towards a less expensive material. Something that could be mass-produced and worn by an entire nation. By 1915, we're a year into World War I, and all of a sudden, all those flamboyant uniforms, all those colors, all that's gone out the window for practicality. In fact, you really couldn't see much difference between enlisted men and officer uniforms had become very simple, very clean, and by clean, I don't mean free of dirt. I mean simply, there was nothing to grab onto. All of a sudden, it was like, if it was excess material, if it was something that could get snagged down in the trenches, you got rid of it. In fact, that pickle helmet all of a sudden was gone in 1916, and we saw the introduction of the famous helmet, which would go on to serve the German military for a long time, known as the Stahlhelm. Now in 1918, Germany surrendered, the Great War was over. You had millions of soldiers returning. All of a sudden, the military went down to a force of about 100,000. And uniforms, during the next 10 years, they really didn't go anywhere. In fact, it was just things left over from the Great War. They really didn't have the money. Hyperinflation was picking up, and this was just a tough time for the military and its uniforms in general. That being said, things started to change in the late 1920s, early 1930s, as we saw the German rearmament program come up. So this is all of a sudden the rise of the Nazi Party, all. Of a sudden, it is a priority to make Germany strong, to make Germany proud, and all of a sudden we see the military uniforms start to get a makeover, get money put into them. This was just something they're getting better materials. All of a sudden, they're getting things to fit. Now, I've got to be honest, there's nothing to me extraordinary about the regular German military uniform in the 1930s and throughout World War II. This is something that it looks good. But I think there are a lot of other uniforms out there that would give it a run for its money. But the SS uniform, that is something different. Now at this point, some of you guys may be asking, wait a minute, isn't the SS part of the German military? Technically, no, the SS was a paramilitary organization and initially started off very small. The Hall Guards, basically, these were the bodyguards for Hitler when he rose to power. He didn't have the trust of the military. He was always suspect of it. So he wanted to have his own group, his group right around him that trusted him, was loyal directly to Hitler and protect. But the SS was the organization in which we think about those black uniforms, the symbolism such as, the death head, the SS symbol, right there. That is what I'm talking about, mostly in today's video. Now, Heiner Himmler was the head of the SS, and it was divided into three parts. You had the General SS, and their job was to make sure that all of the Nazi policies were enforced throughout Germany. Then you had the Armed SS, and this is where a lot of military confusion comes in, because these guys would fight right next.